Hello everyone, welcome back to class. Now I posted the grades for the quizzes and tests that we took, so you guys should know how you did. And for the most part, everything went well. The ones who didn't do very well are who you expect. But now you have to move on to Unit 2, which will be on items. Now this will be a fairly short unit, but don't worry, the next ones are much longer. Some of them have to be broken up into multiple lessons. So here we are. Lesson will be in items. First, I'm going to start off with the simplest item, the coin. The basic idea of the coin is when you collect one, it adds to your counter and adds to your score. If you collect 100 coins in the level, you get a 1-up. Basically, exchange 100 coins for 1-up. There aren't too many creative applications for the coin. The best way is to just create a trail, like in speedrun levels, on where you should go, basically. Like in complicated levels, very often, creators will put a trail of coins to let you know where you're supposed to go. So, like I said, coins are pretty simple. Not much is going to be quizzed on them. The more complicated coins, but still pretty simple, are the value coins, the big coins, as some people call them. And they come in the 10 coin variety, 30 coin variety, and 50 coin variety. They can be, much like the regular coin, they can be of wings and a parachute can be attached to them to either have them fall slowly or fly. Kind of the same thing as the coins. They're not very valuable. However, they can be used as like a reward for exploration in a level, or as a reward for doing a hard section of a level. So they do have some applications, especially in the world buildings, which we will discuss in a later class. But as we're doing just 101 right now. But as is, these coins can be used as rewards for exploration. Again, these are called either value coins or big coins. And not the last, but essentially the last purely coin item is going to be the frozen coin. This is basically a coin inside a block. The best way to, the only way to get a frozen coin is to have a fire attribute item or enemy touch it. We'll talk about the fire attribute later. Again, no real application. The only application for not for the coin itself. The blocks on the other hand can be used for numerous applications. For instance, if you want to block off an area until you find a fire flower, you would use these because the fire flower will be used to break up the wall. And the last purely coin item that we'll talk about is the pink coin. If you put pink coins in your level, it means that if you collect all the pink coins available in the level, you will receive a key that can be used on a door. Keys and doors will be discussed in a later unit. I think that's gizmos. So you don't have to you don't have to know too much about these. Just know that the only thing you have to know is the pink. If you collect all the pink coins in the level, you get a key. That's all you have to know. Alright, the next thing we'll talk about is items power-ups that are in every level, in every world type. Now, a power-up is what it sounds like. It grants Mario a power. It grants you a power. And this can range from fairly useful to very useful. Some items can be found across all Mario Maker worlds, while only certain items can be found in certain Mario Maker worlds. But first, to remove any confusion later, we will first discuss the power-ups that are inclusive. In other words, they are in every world. So first, let's talk about the one that most of you probably know, the Super Mushroom. The Super Mushroom grants you the ability of Super Mario. In other words, it makes you bigger. You can break blocks with your head, or in Super Mario World, or Super Mario, New Super Mario Brothers, you can break from below as well. This also grants you one extra hit. So if you get hit by an enemy, you will not die. So that makes the super mushroom very useful. It can also be we can also put wings and a parachute on it. But again, we will discuss that in a future unit. Basically, it's a pretty basic item. You will not really use this in a creative way. However, there are some creative applications. There is a very common type of level that has you activating platforms and switches while guiding a mushroom above you to be received by you later in the level, which you will need to progress in the level because you have to like jump on a brick or something. So there are creative ways to use the mushroom if you really want to, but it's more of kind of like your basic item, not bad by any means, but basic. Next is the Fire Flower, which also can be found in every Mario world, every Mario template. The Fire Flower basically is an upgrade of Super Mario. In other words, not only are you granted 2 hits, that's important, make sure you write that down. The mushroom grants you 1 hit, but the Fire Flower grants you 2. Some items grant you 1, however most grant you 2. So just to make sure you have that written down somewhere, because that will be on the test. Anyway, not only does it grant you 2 extra hits, but it also grants you the ability to throw fireballs, which are probably the most useful weapon, if you will, in Mario's arsenal. It can defeat numerous baddies, as well as a number of consecutive fire flower hits will kill bosses as well. And like I stated before, it can also melt frozen coins. Creative applications? Well, there are numerous creative applications. One common one, which is also fairly controversial, is to have like a pipe, and if you were paying attention to Unit 1, you know what those are, to give you constant fire flower so you can just rapid fire a number of enemies. Like, the fire flower has so many applications that you could almost make a unit or an entire class on a fire flower itself. So again, the fire flower is extremely useful in every single template. Next, we have the Superstar, again, in every single template. Not only will this make Mario invincible to everything except pitfalls and lava, and poison, of course, but it also grants him extra speed as well, which can be useful in speedrun levels. Use for applications, well, one common one that I see is to use it in a speedrun level where you are running across a maze of spikes. Maybe getting a superstar along the way to replenish your health, to replenish your time, as it were. Again, much like the Fire Flower, there are numerous applications to use with a superstar. One way you do not want to use it is what they call a dev superstar. In other words, a really difficult level that seems impossible to defeat, but you find a hidden mushroom, a hidden block. Again, if you remember Unit 1, you know what that is. And then the creator would just grab the hidden star and defeat the level much easier than it looks. So again, like I've probably said before, do not rely on dev exits. But as is, the Superstar is a very useful item and one of the most common you will see in Mario Maker 2. Alright, and that honestly concludes all of the inclusive items, as everyone else is exclusive to at least a couple. So we will start at the very top of the list with the exclusive items. Oh wait, I forgot one, guys. Forgive me. One last inclusive, well, not power up, but I'll consider it power up. The 1-up mushroom. As you know, collecting 100 coins will grant you a 1-up. But to avoid having to get 100 coins, you can just find a 1-up mushroom. Basically, 1-up mushrooms, like I said, give you 1-up. The obvious applications of this is to grant a reward for exploration, or like what they call a true ending level. And what that means is they will give you, some levels have an optional way to exit, like you're on a travel level and you have to if you collect like 5 or 6 pink coins, you get to open the door, which will grant you the 3 1-ups before you end the level. So that's a very common and very good way to use a 1-up mushroom. Alright, now let's go into the exclusive items. The first exclusive power-up we will talk about is the Big Mushroom, not to be confused with the Super Mushroom. The Big Mushroom makes you Big Mario, not Super Mario. There is a difference. First off, the Big Mushroom is only available in the Super Mario Bros. Template, no others. It makes you a big... When you collect it, it gives you 2 extra hits and makes you a gigantic Mario. One jump will generally clear most blocks, such as brick blocks, question mark blocks, etc., etc., etc. It can also crush a couple of enemies with just 1 hit. So it can be very useful, but also can be very deadly if used in a creative way. For instance, you can make a level where it's all brick blocks over lava, and you only get a handful of jumps to complete it. So there are numerous types of applications with this that can be more annoying than anything. But yeah, the Big Mushroom. Like with many items, this can be a progressive power-up. And what is a progressive power-up? Well, this will probably not appear on any quiz or test, at least not in this course. But a progressive power-up is simply something where if you say you have let's just say you're a regular Mario, and if you hit a certain block, you get a mushroom. However, if you hit that block later and you already have a mushroom, it will turn to a fire flower, or a big mushroom, or whatever. Any item that is considered above a mushroom. Not all power-ups are progressive, like the stars and the Yoshis are not progressive power-ups. But again, that's not really what we're here to talk about. We're not here to talk about the progressive power-ups. That'll be in a later class. Just want to give you a heads up on what they are in case you see that term in your textbook. Let's move on. Next, one of the more common power-ups you will see, at least in the Super Mario World template, is the Cape Feather. Like I said, it only appears in the Super Mario World template. The Cape Feather can be used, again, like with many other items, to grant 2 hits, but also can slow your descent if you're falling. And if you run at full speed long enough and jump, you can actually fly through the air, or at least glide through the air. That is a separate course that I do not teach, but there are numerous movement classes on how to use certain items, such as the Cape Feather. That one is one that a lot of people have trouble with. So if you feel brave enough, take that course. Again, I don't teach it, so sorry. But numerous applications for this. One very common way that I like is when it's a vertical sub-level and use the Cape Feather to fall slowly to try to dodge obstacles. So that's a very common way to use the Cape Feather. Oh, excuse me. Next is the Master Sword. This one is a fairly new one for the world. It can only be found in Super Mario Bros. And it turns you into Link. And we can spend all day talking about the powers of Link, but basically what Link does is grant you 1 extra hit. This is one of those where it doesn't grant you 2. It grants you a sword, which you can use to lunge at enemies. It grants you a dash power-up, where you can just plow through enemies. It grants you arrows to hit enemies from afar, and it grants you bombs to blow up bricks. Of all the items, it probably is the biggest utility item that can be used very easily and very constantly. So, that's the Master Sword. Next is the Propeller Mushroom, only found in New Super Mario Bros. This is very similar to the Cape, but it gives you more vertical movement than horizontal, as it shoots you up into the air. There are a number of applications for this. One is to jump off a cliff and use it at the right time to land onto another cliff in a U pattern, but it tests your timing by having like a spike in that middle of that U to test your skills with it. It's a very useful item that you will see constantly in New Super Mario Bros. Next, we have what I would not consider a power-up, but some do. So, is what we have the rotten mushroom. The rotten mushroom is exclusive to not a template, but a theme. The rotten mushroom can only be found in the nighttime ground theme, and it replaces the one-up mushroom. Well, what does it do? Well, not only does it hurt you, it takes away one. It takes away one power statute. If you're at Little Mario, then it kills you. Not only does it hurt you, but it also follows you. Yes, it will chase you and even jump to catch you. And this is probably the most underrated power up, as it does not get used nearly as often as it should, because there are a lot of ways to use this. Obviously, you just have a chase level where it just chases you all over a really difficult to platform level. Next, we have Shoe Goomba and Stiletto Goomba, which are essentially the same thing. These can be found in Super Mario Bros. 3 and the original Super Mario Bros., and only those two. What do? Well, one, they grant you one extra hit. So if you're following along, if you have a Fire Flower, you can have 3 extra hits. If you get hit, you lose the shoe, then you lose the Fire Flower, then you use the mushroom. So not only is it great protection, but it also grants you certain abilities. Like, for instance, the Stiletto allows you, you can stomp on things, like enemies, and the Stiletto lets you stomp through bricks. So that's another. These finding creative applications for these is difficult because of their nature, but two things it allows you to do is, one, when you jump off of them, you can it sends you higher than normally would. And not only that, but you can, with both of them, you can walk on munchers without getting hurt, and spikes. So there are numerous ways to use this, even if it's not always obvious. You probably want to study on the shoe a little bit, because that will probably appear on the test. Next is the Super Leaf, which can only be found in Super Mario Bros. 3. The Super Leaf is very similar to the Cape. It probably is the best flying one of the 3, as, well, no, I guess it'd be Cape. Cape's a little better, but this is a very competent flying one, as it has a lot of horizontal and vertical. It has a lot of diagonal. It probably has the most diagonal momentum of the 3. If you reach P speed in Super Mario Bros. 3, you can fly with the Super Leaf. Pretty much any application that can be used for the Cape can be used for the Super Leaf, as essentially the same power up. Next, we have the Super Ball Flower, which is a retake on the Super Mario Land power-up, the Super Flower. Basically, what this is a power-up that's similar to the Fire Flower, but the only difference being that you only shoot one ball at a time, and it bounces around the level. The most common application of this power-up is like a golf type of level, where you send it into a hole to try to collect all the coins or activate the P-switch to move on with the level. And yes, this item can interact with the P-switch, and we can talk about more of that in a later class. But essentially, the Super Ball can be very useful, if not annoying, as a lot of builders don't really like it because of the fact that you can only shoot one and it's really slow. So there probably won't be a whole lot on this. Next is probably the most popular item, and that's Yoshi and the Yoshi egg. Basically, first off, Yoshis are only available in Super Mario World and New Super Mario Bros. They can be ridden, they can eat enemies, you can jump off them for an extra height. Not only can you get a extra hit like the shoe, but they will run, and if you catch them again, you get them again. They can also have wings if you eat the right enemy, although I think that's only in the original game. There are two variants. The green Yoshi, which allows you to eat things and carry things in your mouth, and the red Yoshi, which shoot fireballs. The eggs can be used for other purposes as well. Like, you can hide a 1-up in it, or you can hide a key in it. those are the applications. The Yoshis are probably the most used power-up in Super Mario World and Super Mario Brothers, New Super Mario Brothers. I recommend that you make sure you understand the applications of Yoshi before the test. Alright, and that concludes most of the items. However, due to the surplus of exclusive items in new Super Mario 3D World template, we will end with those because of how many there are. So let's start at the beginning. First, we have the Super Bell. Oh wait, no, I forgot one. In Super Mario Brothers, there's also the Mario Brothers 2 mushroom, which basically gives you the power-ups and the physics of Super Mario Brothers 2. This was probably the newest. This was the newest item given to us, which is why I almost forgot it, because it's the newest, and I've barely used it myself. So, it's probably the most anticipated item due to people wanting Super Mario Brothers 2 in the game. There are so many applications for this that I could literally fill an entire class with it. Much like with the Master Sword power up, it changes the dynamics of the game. The big one is that when you jump on an enemy, you don't kill them or activate them; you simply ride them. The biggest biggest application for that is like riding Goombas across spikes, or riding a bullet bill through the air. Sometimes even a big bullet bill. So there are so many applications for this, and it's probably one of the most loved items. Alright, now that we got that out of the way, my apologies, let's move on to Super Mario 3D World. The first things first. First, we have the Super Bell, which turns you into Cat Mario. And Cat Mario has the ability to lunge in midair, which allows him to get nice downward diagonal momentum, but he can also climb walls for a limited amount of time, and climb background gates for an extended amount of time, or an indefinite amount of time. The applications for this are pretty simple. You can create a level where you're climbing, like on the gates, to try dodge enemies. You can lunge, maybe use it, maybe have a hidden Super Bell as a way to lunge to a faraway platform. Again, the applications for this are pretty wide spread. Next, we have the Super Hammer. This turns you into Builder Mario. And what does Builder Mario do? Well, the two biggest things that Builder Mario can do is, one, break bricks, whether it be question mark blocks, ice blocks, hard blocks, etc., etc. He can break most bricks. The second thing he can do is spawn boxes for him, which by far the most widely used application of those is putting them in lava to traverse the lava itself, because as you know, lava will kill you. So the Super Hammer is underutilized but very useful. Next, we have the Boomerang Bro outfit. This turns Mario into Boomerang Bro. And what does Boomerang Bro do? Well, Boomerang Bro allows Mario to throw a boomerang that will follow him until he catches it. This is actually very different from the Fire Flower, because if he throws it in front and he jumps, it will travel behind him and travel back to him. The applications for this have been very strongly researched. One of the popular ones is to throw a boomerang to hit a switch as you pass a gate to close it. Like, there are numerous ways to use this. Throw it to kill two enemies at once, throw it in front of you, then jump to kill the enemy behind you. It's definitely one of the most popular new items that have been introduced to Super Mario Bros. 2. Super Mario Maker 2. Alright, the next thing in Super Mario Brothers new Super Mario World will be what they call the hat power-ups. But before that, I made another mistake. Yes, I will make mistakes, so just get used to that with your teacher. Teachers are under a lot of stress, so that things happen. In new Super Mario Brothers style, there's also a new item called the Acorn power-up, and this allows you to turn to Squirrel Mario, which basically allows you to glide and fly a little bit in the air and cling onto walls. Another power-up I missed is the Frog Suit in Super Mario Bros. 3, also new. This allows you to swim with ease, both of which really won't be covered much because they aren't used that much, so we will worry about that when time comes. But in Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario 3D World, there, I got it. there are hat power-ups that we shall discuss. Now, some people want to separate these as they're not real power-ups. I don't really see a reason to, as they act like power-ups and you collect them as power-ups. Not to mention, when you get hit, you lose it like a power-up. So I'm considering them a power-up. And the first one we're going to talk about is the propeller hat, as it were. This is actually very similar to the propeller suit. The only difference is that it's in Super Mario 3D World, and it grants you 3 flies instead of 1, which can be used in numerous types of obstacle courses. So the applications pretty much match what the propeller suit is. So pretty much anything you would answer for a propeller suit, you would answer also for the propeller box, as it were called. Some people call them boxes, not hats, or some people call them masks. And I will avoid using masks because of the current events. So propeller box. You probably want to remember that. Next up of the 5 hats or masks, again, there are 5. I don't think I said that yet. Is the bullet hat. This allows you to shoot a bullet in front of you. The applications for this are very similar to Fire Flower, as it kind of acts like it. The only difference is that 1, it can break blocks, and 2, it goes into a straight line. And I don't think it travels as far as the Fire Flower. Well, the applications, well, it can be charged up and used maybe like a battleship type of thing against Bowser. Like, the applications for it are very similar to what you would get in with a Fire Flower. Next, the bullet bill hat, not to be confused with the bullet hat, but the bullet bill hat. This allows you to get great horizontal distance in the air. Basically, what happens when you jump and you hold the jump button, you will travel straight into the air like a bullet bill. Now, it does have a limited amount of fuel, but the way to recharge it is to land again somewhere. The obvious applications to make an obstacle course in the air that you can't land, and these can be really tricky because using the bullet bill hat is not the easiest or the most intuitive thing in the world. Next is the power block hat, which in my teacher's opinion is my least favorite of the 5, but still could be useful. What is this? Well, basically it grants you 3 POWs on your head, and when you hit your head on something, it acts like a power block. Yeah, basically it's like a regular power block, but instead of 1, you used to get 3. The uses will be the same as the power block, and we will discuss the uses of the power block in gizmos. And the last hat is the Goomba hat. This turns you into basically a Goomba, and when you're using this, the most enemies in the game will not attack you when they see you. Like, you can walk under swamps and they will not squash you. You can walk past Goombas and they will not charge at you. The very common application for this is to make like a stealth level, like in your don't kill levels, or like don't lose your power up, clear condition levels. We will talk about clear conditions in later class, but that is what it's mostly used for. And that concludes our class for today. I'm going to leave you a little bit of controversy. Supposedly, people consider the P balloon a power-up from Super Mario World. I don't know if I do or not. I mean, technically it is, but I would almost say it's like a power block. It's more of a gizmo. But to each their own. I don't think it's really worth covering here. I may cover in gizmo. I don't know, because it's not... It changes the dynamic of the game so much, I don't know if I consider it a power-up. But, again, some teachers do, so you may find that some do. And that's fine. You should not expect to see the P balloon in your quiz or test. So, thank you all for coming. You know what I expect from the quiz and test now. You guys are doing fine in this course. It may get a little hard, but if you have any questions or need help, I am always available. So thank you all for coming. Travel safe home, and God bless. Hello, thank you for watching my video. If you like these videos, please subscribe to my channel and click that notification bell to be notified when I post videos. If you think somebody will like this type of ASMR, please share this video with who comes to mind. If you have any suggestions for future role plays, please leave a comment down below. And if you want to follow me on Twitter for updates to my uploads, please check the link in the description below. Until the next video, thank you very much for watching, and God bless.